Good evening, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Father Russ Carmichael, and this is Street Talk. I want to thank all my viewers for tuning in. We're very happy you're staying with us. Tonight I've got an interesting guest. I have Michaelrighini with me, and Michael's here and is going to talk about something that's very important to us, something that's, I believe he'll be also on the show Struggle for Justice, Bobby DeLello's show, which is either next week or behind me. So you're going to see this young man on the next couple of shows. It's an important situation that's going on right now for those of you who follow the show. June is the National Religious Campaign Against Torture is sponsoring. June is Torture Awareness Month, and those of you who follow us and know that we are supportive of the religious campaign. Many of the churches in the area devote time and programs to the National Religious Campaign and the work they do, which is phenomenal. As you may know, that Bobby DeLello was written up in the New Yorker, 2009. I think it was the May edition, May or March edition. Dr. Gawani talked about his situation and his struggle with him, what he went through, what John McCain went through, and with Terry Anderson, I believe, went through. And so we're continuing on this theme. And tonight we've talked about reentry. We're talking about a lot of things. But with me, my guest, Michael, bless you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
And I'm thankful. You're one of my brothers. You graduated one of the same colleges I did, so we're alumnus.
Yeah.
Okay?
Magna cum laude.
Amen. I'd like my audience to know, and when I say that you're an alumnus, I'm talking about we're both ex-prisoners. And I like the X factor right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And if you could tell me a little bit, how long you been out?
I've been out, I guess, completed 3 years of federal probation. So I got out January 6, 2008. I was recently got off federal probation just past January.
So you just got off probation.
Yeah,
You've done so you're all wrapped up.
Yep.
And how much time did you do on this?
Collectively over the last 2 bids, 8.5 years.
You did 8.5 years.
Yep.
Okay. Now people wonder, well, we got you on here. Well, as you know, the theme is torture, and the National Religious Campaign talks about torture being isolation, and Bobby was locked up quite a long time. And you yourself, how much time you did time in isolation?
Yeah, I'd say probably 3.5, 4 years, something like that, in complete isolation.
3.5 years, 4 years, complete isolation.
Yep.
Okay, and I guess that's what I want to get at. I would go right to the core. When we say complete isolation, what are we talking about?
Most days, 24 hours a day, by myself in my cell. On the rare occasion when the institution is actually running correctly, I use that word loosely.
Yeah, I understand.
When it is running correctly, quote unquote, you are allotted supposedly 3 days a week in the yard, and a dog, no bigger than a dog kennel's cage for an hour. And you're allotted 3 showers a week. And aside from that, I'm in my cell, and the only human contact I have is through a 2x2 pane of glass and a solid steel door.
And which unit were you in?
The one I'm speaking of right now is Departmental Disciplinary Unit, otherwise known as DDU, out of Walpole, Massachusetts.
DDU Walpole.
Yeah.
Okay. We've know that they've had tremendous amount of problems in Walpole. We had suicide rate that was off the charts up there.
Yep.
Okay, so we know that Walpole has had extreme difficulties.
I witnessed all of it. I was there for most of the suicides and been on the cells when they've taken guys out.
And I just want to get this straight again. 24-hour lockups, okay? Isolation all by yourself. You're looking through a
A piece of glass about this big right here.
Okay. It does 24 hours a day, 3 showers a week.
If we're lucky.
If you're lucky, 3 showers a week. And if you're lucky, you're out
3 days a week, if that.
for an hour each day.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be 5, but that would never ever happen in the wireless streams. In the course of all the time I spent in DDU, I've never seen more than 3 days out a week.
Okay. And you did 3.5 years.
Yep, give or take, so 3.5, 4. Plus I've also done, obviously, solitary confinement in federal prison and holding, waiting trial at different various stages of my incarceration.
Now, you went from that, okay, my understanding, and I want you to correct me, to the street?
Exactly. Directly from DDU. Bruises still fresh from recent altercations with correctional officers where they took liberties with people who are generally helpless, who can't defend themselves against people with tactical equipment and chemical weapons. And as a result, I went directly from there to the street with the not only physical injuries, but the psychological ones that I suffered as well. And I was told to make a life for myself and offered no rehabilitative services whatsoever at the state or federal level.
So, again, see, I really want my audience to understand this, okay? Here we are, we're talking about 3.5, almost 4 years of total isolation, lucky to get 3 showers a week, lucky to get 3 hours worth of exercise in fresh air in a week outside, and then, boom, they dropped you in the middle of the street after it sounds like you've had altercations inside, struggles, being beaten. Am I right? I know this is difficult to talk about. And then they say, here you go, and good luck, kid. Give you a ton of money, right? They give you a ton of money?
They actually took money from me. They took thousands of dollars from me. I left there with negative money in my account because I was already down there in DDU.
So you owe them money.
I owe them money for drug tests I didn't take.
Okay, and then they wanted you, again, boom in the street.
Yeah, boom in the street. And mind you, not only was I isolated for that amount of time, I hadn't seen sunlight for years because there's tops over the cages, so there's no way for you to have direct sunlight, and then there's zero aware of there's vitamin D deficiencies, and that causes all types of adverse psychological reactions, and studies have been done on it. And the 25-hour cycle being one of them.
Well, I know, and I'm going to be digging here, and I hope my audience is listening. I see this. You get out on the street. Where do you go?
Without getting too much into detail, you do what you have to do with the limited job skills you have, no place to live, the prison denims on your back, and there's nowhere to go. I don't have any
family.
No family. I don't. My family is their situation is their situation, and none of them have the means to take care of me.
Yeah, well, I understand. I understand. Some of us, we burn bridges sometimes. Sometimes family can't help us and stuff like that. I know in Bobby's situation, if his family wasn't there, they dropped him in the middle of Boston with his tickets on. I mean, if his brother wasn't able to get to him, I know what he would have done. He would have got a sock and a piece of soap and found a cop, and he would be back in now. I'd be having to visit him in Walpole, but thank God Louis got to him first.
Well, that's pretty similar to what happened to me. You know, the sock and the soap doesn't sound too far off, because 4 months later, the DEA picked me up, and there I was in federal prison. 4 months after walking out of DDU. So, I mean, and there I am again, and they put me right back in Walpole.
Well, I'm trying. We kind of laugh at this and kind of joke at this, and it isn't a joke, folks. This isn't a joke. This young man, how old are you?
29.
29 years old. Again, can you imagine? 3.5, 4 years in isolation, no contact with anybody. You're listening to this? Luckily, maybe 3 showers a week. Luckily, maybe 3 hours of exercise out in the fresh air a week, if you're lucky. And you take, and somebody who I know was beaten, I know has had pressure, I know has got, right? And again, boom, here we are home. He's coming home to us with no job, right? And you owe,
And I owe money.
you owe them money.
I owe them money.
I mean that's a good one. I mean that if anything aggravates me more than anything in the world is you owe them money.
And I realize I have a smirk on my face as you say it.
Well, because it's sad.
Because it's sad.
We're going to be here crying.
Yeah, you know, if you don't
want
like
to do that, I don't feel like crying, and I know you don't, and
Definitely
everything
not.
else. And they wonder why. I mean, society wonders why. Well, I am angry. My audience knows I'm still angry, but they wonder why you're angry, or you'd be angry, or in what you're doing, and they want you right now to go get a job.
The recidivism rate is what it is because it's impossible for people like myself to get jobs. Even when I've had jobs, I've been let go simply because someone's typed my name in on the internet.
Because they look it up and they find out that you're an ex-convict and you're thank God you're an ex-criminal, okay? But however, the mistakes were made there and they're stuck in your past, and as soon as somebody finds out, you're gone.
Yeah, and these are cases I was found not guilty on. This just SJC rulings that were all over online.
Well, some of our people don't understand that every arrest that you make, especially a federal, you may have been found not guilty, but the arrest is still hanging around there.
It's still there.
And yeah.
Every time you get pulled over, you're out of the car.
But the fact of the matter, even the convictions are, okay, that's in the past. How do you start a new life?
Exceedingly carefully. To get to how I started a new life, I have to first make it through the next bid I had to do, and then be released from that bid right there for my federal incarceration, which ended with just a bus ticket and to South Station in Boston, and no place to live again. So I mean. So
you went from Walpole. And then you had a federal, you did federal time?
Yep.
How much federal time did you do?
About 3 years or so.
So you did three years of federal time?
Yeah, because give or take a month or something like that.
Okay, the federal time, you get out of federal time, and they give you a bus ticket.
20 miles from the Canadian border, gave me a bus ticket, said, make your way to South Station, and nothing but a bag of books that I was reading in there, and they said, make a life for yourself. And they said, well, we threw in an extra $15 so you can get yourself a meal. And I got $30 plus, bus ticket.
$30, a bus ticket, go to Boston, no family, no job.
No
Released
prospects.
No prospect.
No.
No halfway house? They
No
didn't
halfway.
offer you a halfway house?
Absolutely not.
That's their federal reentry program.
Yeah, I was denied it because I was in solitary at the time. I was released from
So
solitary.
you were released? Yeah, you're released from solitary confinement.
I was in solitary for probably 6 to
So
10 months at a time.
so So you got no re-entry to the community, none of this. Take you down, get you reacclimated to what's going on. Nothing, huh?
No, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just so it just hits the nail on it. There's nothing at all. They don't give those options to people, because then what reason what job security is that right there? How would they continue to earn?
So the system expects you to come out like this and go to Lehman Brothers, and you have some computer skills, right?
Yeah, I mean, I educated myself both in prison, informally, and formally on the street. I paid my own tuition. I went to school for A+ CompTIA, Network Plus certification, plus I have managerial skills, cash handling skills. I have lots of marketable skills that I cannot use in the workforce due to even dismissals, due to even things I was found not guilty on. And that's the only thing that you can find online on me, is things I was found not guilty on. And then with the new Corey laws in Massachusetts, it makes it even more transparent. So it's even harder to find a job.
Are you telling me that McDonald's isn't going to hire you?
Will McDonald's pay my bills? You know, I mean, I can't, I'm still trying to pay back Walpole.
Maybe you're not going to tell me, but I'm going to tell you. McDonald's isn't going to hire you. I already know. I have guys that tried to get work at McDonald's and stuff like that, and it's tragic. It really is tragic, I just. My understanding is I'm trying to show my audience the dilemma that exists for individuals like yourself, and individuals like myself. But I've been fortunate enough where now I'm old and I work, and I'm able, after 20 some odd years, but to get by. But we have lots of people coming back, and we have prisons that want to close, and we have we have a lot of people that are coming back on the street with no reintegration whatsoever.
And the funny thing is, the people who are responsible for the reintegration programs are also the same people who do the drug testing to put you back into prison. The company called Secon. There was recently a $500,000 contribution made to the current party that's in office, and they got the contract from the feds for the rehabilitation as well as the drug testing on the street. So the same company has a vested interest in not rehabilitating you so that you will come back and be there and sitting in their program again.
My situation was a little different, okay, and I learned. Bobby teaches me a lot because he spent a lot more time there than I did, and he was in there when the prisons changed, okay, and prisons changed. When I went in, it was safe crackers, thieves. It was a different thing. There was very few drug guys in there. Bobby says maybe 10. I think there might have been maybe 10, and you didn't hang around with those guys because they weren't trusted with guys like me. And then everything's changed, and now almost everybody that is in there has an addiction problem. Okay.
It's mostly guys who had one bad day, and they're going to do 20 years for it, or some type of football numbers, or life. And it's over drugs. There's not too many guys who are in there anymore, like back in your day, as an occupational hazard. And whereas
that's right.
Whereas today, it's, I'd say a good 85% of them have some type of drug problem, a serious drug problem at that, and they're sending them to maximum security prisons, and they're not making them any better, that's for sure.
No treatment programs.
No, there's no drug treatment, but there's not even the opportunity to earn good time.
That's right. You don't have any good time anymore, right? No. So it's almost as close to a flat sentence as you can get.
Yeah, they don't have any incentive to
no incentive, no drug programs, no reentry programs.
And once you're labeled a troublemaker, that's where you are. You're staying at a level 6 maximum security, and you're not leaving it forever.
Well, the tragedy is our society doesn't seem to understand what it's doing to millions. We're not talking a few we're talking about millions of people, okay? Millions of ex-offenders. We're talking whole communities that are being destroyed. We're talking about, you're a white guy like me, but we're talking about a black community that is really devastated, and that if black leadership doesn't turn around and do something, they ain't got no community anymore. They're all the men are convicts.
That's a travesty.
And if you're a convict, again, the job situation. Okay, we got millions out of work right now.
Who have no record and are just as
I
qualified
was just going to
as me.
say, who is just as qualified as you that have no record. Okay, and my question then becomes, what do you do?
The only options are entrepreneurship, but then you need venture capital, and that's something that I can't come up with through any means that, going to a job, saving up, normal means that normal people would do. So I have very few options of what I do. I did collections for a while, but that's just basically an extension of what they treated you like in prison. How many times are you treated poorly, we'll say it that way, and then to turn around and have to pick up a phone every day and be treated poorly by somebody else.
And calling people and asking them to pay their debts and stuff like that.
Because it's all who will hire you because as a convict, you're good at staying alive. You're good at surviving, and as a result, you're good. I don't want to say manipulative, but
no,
maybe
but
that's what it is. It's true.
It is. Yeah, it is. If we have good survival skills and everything, and because we have to, and they have to be honed, and people get a little bit upset with that, but that's a reality factor that has to happen. Okay, you're either going to survive or you're going to get eaten up. So you do develop manipulative skills. I don't care who you are. When you go in the joint, you spend any time in the joint, you've got manipulative skills. You see anybody coming out of poverty, if you're going to survive the situation, you've got. If you're in the drug business, you got to be a salesman.
Yep.
You got to be an organizer. You got some skills that would be marketable in a legitimate market, but you can't get in.
I can't get into it.
You can't get in the legitimate market.
And then when I do get into it and they find out, they let me go. So it's very difficult to say the least, and it's infuriating. And I don't want to express the anger here, but it's there.
Well, and again, this is what this is the kind of thing we're trying to inform society about what's going on. We're trying to give them a picture. What is happening to people that are coming out and what options they have or don't have. And as we see, you're an intelligent young man. You computer skills you have, and you're dead in the water.
Exactly.
I happen to know that you have help from a young girlfriend and helps, and you've now been out couple of years.
Yeah, 3 years I finished.
3 years. You went to school?
Yep, I went to school, and it was all my own volition. I paid for it myself, painstakingly at that. And regardless of that, it doesn't.
But you lost your job because they found out that you were. You had a pretty good job too.
Yeah,
you had a substantial.
Yeah, I had a substantial income. I was making very good money at what I did. I was the #1 person at what I did, because I'm good on the phone. I'm good at talking to people, and I'm good at making people feel comfortable. Call it manipulative, call it what it is, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it ethically, and that was undeniable through management, upper management. But at the end of the day, people don't feel comfortable around someone with my background. And I can dress it up any way I like. It's still what it is.
It is. It's a rare thing to be hired as an ex-convict. It's rare. People think, there's nothing. No, it isn't. And I know that in my day, the probation officers and both parole and probation used to tell you, don't tell them you're convicted. Well, Jesus, you don't tell them you're convicted and you're good for 30 days maybe at the place, or maybe 60, because they eventually do a background on you, and then it will come up and you're out of there.
Yeah, quality check, LexisNexis, whatever.
Yeah, now which I know in Massachusetts, Bob and Jack have been really on that Corey law, trying to, trying to get rid of it, because it's hurting people so bad.
It's interesting that they made it easier to get your record closed, but more transparent than ever, and easier for more people to get a hold of sealed records. The box is no longer there, or will no longer be there. I'm not sure currently at this time if you are a felon, but you have to give them authorization to look it up. And anybody can go online as long as they have authorization and look up your entire record. And they have 90 days to decide whether or not they want to fire you. And this is of May 2012. This new law will take effect, to the best of my knowledge. That's the reason there's a 99% recidivism rate out of DDU, in particular. Never mind all the other solitary and confinement environments I've been in. There's only me and Bobby that I know of who are actually on the street from DDU and who aren't either dead or back in prison for life.
Yeah, no, it is. I know from how many I work with, and I know early on when Bobby first got out, I got really nervous that was something would happen to him or anything else. I know how hard that first couple of years is, and and it never stops. It's not that it's easy, and doing the amount of time it takes to adjust. I mean, my anger after many, many years, I'm probably more an angry person than Bobby is. It's amazing. I still don't. But I think maybe it's because he got damaged in DDU, and he doesn't realize how bad they are. My audience must be saying, oh boy, right? Well, there's guys around here in the studios always. I mean, so many of our friends, associates, that come out with no way. They have no means. There are no means for them to survive, and so they get back into stupid stuff. Even it's stupid stuff, and they're back in the joint, and it's too bad. And
it's what they want.